Hello everybody, welcome back to Everyman Prepping. And before we get back to the subject of this video, as you can see from my background, which is money, talking about CBDCs, how they're going to be used to control you, universal basic income, and how Brazil is an excellent example of what the US is going to try to do soon. I need to talk to you about a few items that came up really quickly. First, Pentagon comes out today, says, oh, those other three objects that we shot down, the one in Alaska, the one over Canada, the one over Lake Huron, they came out today and said, our bad, not a UFO, not Chinese, probably a commercial object of some source. They didn't say how it's being propelled. Before they said, oh, we don't know how it's floating. We want to know what it is. Now they're saying it's probably a commercial balloon of some sort. Our bad, we just blew it out of the sky. Go back to your daily ritual, daily lives. Go back to consuming and TikToking and Facebooking and all that. Don't worry about all that stuff in Ohio and Epstein and the war and all that good stuff. So that's one thing. Second thing is inflation came out today. Numbers hotter than expected, 6.4%. Of course, CPI is up from something like 30 some months in a row. As we know, inflation's up. You've been to the store, grocery store, the Walmarts, the Targets, the Home Depots. It's up everywhere. And they actually said, well, we might have to do more rate hikes than we thought in order to get this inflation down. So basically, they're conceding, yeah, inflation's high and we can't stop it, which is going to lead them into what I talk about is the U.S. is going to come out with a Fed coin, a central bank digital coin, a CBDC this year. And they're going to do that to try to kill this inflation also. That's what's going to hopefully be for. Get rid of the old cash system. Let's try this digital form and see if we can rein in inflation that way. So I'm going to get into an article about that. Please like the video. If you're watching and enjoy it, comment, share, and please subscribe to the channel. And like I said, those likes really help, push it to the algorithm and really helps to get it out there. So if you do me the pleasure of a like, I'd really appreciate it. Now, starting on here, we can see we're going to talk about Brazil and how they're forcing their population to do what the government wants, or you're not going to get your universal basic income. And they're going to implement this on a CBDC as well this year. So it says here that all UBI, universal basic income, recipients in Brazil, their social family welfare program, must be vaxxed. It's the Bolsa Family Program, Familia Program, will require family members to be vaccinated in order to continue receiving benefits. So you might be vaxxed, but your kids maybe aren't. So the kids are going to have to get one in order for you to get your benefits. And that's how they're going to play this in Brazil. And don't think they won't try it here. They're going to see how it goes in Brazil. And like I said, Brazil's going to come up with that CBDC coin also. And this is how they're going to basically withhold money from people to get them to do what they want. So you have to be in a position where the government can't force you to do this. You have other means to take care of yourself, so you don't have to rely on this type of funding from the government, so you have to bend the knee, basically. Don't be the one to bend the knee to jeopardize your health, your family, your safety, at the whims of the government. So we're going to talk about this here. It says UBI is considered by many to be beneficent and inevitable. And this gentleman that wrote this article says he believes the former, not the latter. So he's saying, no, he believes the latter, but not the former. Sorry. So he doesn't believe it's beneficial, either do I, but he thinks it's inevitable. I think it is inevitable also that they're going to try UBI. They're going to try the CBDC. I think it'll fail, but they're going to try. But this is what we're going to have to go through first. And it says, and the author of the story says, I expect every CBDC to have these 5 capabilities baked in. This is what we think the Fed coin or the Federal Reserve Central Bank digital coin will have as one of its capabilities, I guess you could call it. So the first one here is expiry dates and use by dates. So this money will expire. You have to use it or you lose it. That's how they're going to make people consume. That's how they're going to make you do things. They're going to say, if you don't do X by this date, well, all your CBDC digital money, it's going to disappear. So people are going to do X. Otherwise, they won't get the Y money, right? So it's a very, cruel form of, I guess you call it, what I want to say, forcing someone to do something you don't want. The government forcing you, we're going to withhold your money, we're going to then make your money expire if you don't do this. So that's going to be put into this CBDC. Next, anti-hoarding feature. So what do they mean by this? Well, they don't want people hoarding the CBDC. They don't want you saving. They don't want you stockpiling the money, which I don't think people will, because I think people are going to be afraid of this. They're going to be afraid of it being taken away because it's just digital. It's just on a computer. It's not tangible like our current money is, or like silver, like gold. It's just in thin air. It's not even. It's worse than our Federal Reserve notes that we have, the greenbacks. Those are at least tangible. This is not even tangible. So I don't think people are going to hoard them, but it's going to have a feature where they can just make them. They can. If you what they're calling is negative interest. If you hold 100, and every month they're going to take away 10%, so you lose 10. So if you have over so many in your account, you're going to lose them. So that's how they're going to keep you from piling up too many of these and not spending them. They're just going to get rid of them. Next on the list here, total informational awareness. This is true. They're going to be able to track everything. It's all going to be on a type of blockchain, and they're going to know when you buy something, where you bought it, how much you paid for it, and then, of course, tax you appropriately. It's all about getting more tax money, basically. This is the IRS dream of tracking everything. When you go to a garage sale now and you pay in your digital money, well, the IRS is going to know about it. They're going to get rid of that cash, so you can't pay in cash. So, they're going to know every transaction. When you use PayPal, Venmo, those are probably going to be converted to a CBDC also. So when you pay for your kids' soccer lesson or swim lesson, or you pay someone else for any other thing they gave or sold you, they're going to tax that. They can even tax money transfers from families just because, even though you're just giving them $10 to go to the movie or something. Maybe there'll be a tax on that. Everything will be trackable. They're going to, like I said, they'll also know what you're buying exactly and where. And maybe they can also, like it says in the next one, change the price of things based on who is buying it at the time, which goes into number 4 here. Social credit system. So if you're not behaving well, you don't like your points, you might have a tax put on you. You might have different prices to pay for things. When you go into a store and you want to use your CBDC and you go to pay, well, your prices might be different than someone else's because your social credit isn't quite on par with anybody else's. It'd be easy to freeze your account. If you're not behaving socially acceptable to the government, they could freeze that whole account and you can't use it. You then no longer have means to to get your money. And lastly, the favorite of today's World Economic Forum people is the carbon footprint tracking. So since they're going to know everything you buy, because it's going to be tied to the blockchain, because it's tied to the central bank digital currency, they're going to be able to say, well, that beef was, 3 carbon footprints, or whatever the scale is. I'm just making stuff up. That car you bought, that's 1,000 on your carbon footprint. And they're going to say, oh, you went over your limit. We're going to have to take some of those coins away, or we're going to tax you on it, or you can't buy anymore. You're done for the whole month. You can't even spend anymore. Or maybe you have to buy some more credits for someone else hasn't spent them. So you're going to have to give them some of your coin. Of course, they'll tax that transaction, and then that person will be able to spend it later. So that's all. That's what we're looking at in these coins. And this gentleman goes on to say that he thinks they'll ultimately fail, and so do I. One of them is what I highlighted here is the global financial system is unraveling faster than they can be developed. The CBDCs can be developed. So if this global system crashes before they can get all these deployed, they'll never take hold. Also, I don't know how Orwellian people are going to accept knowing everything they're doing is being tracked, that their money can be disappeared, it can be taxed, they can have different prices. This is a big question mark for me, because we know how many people got one of these for the C19 without asking questions, just taking the government's word for it. So they might accept all this Orwellian big brother overwatching their money. But the hope is there'll be enough of us that will push back, use other means of monetary transfer, precious metals, bartering, that it won't gain enough traction. It'll fail. There'll be enough pushback. I can't see this thing surviving. A lot of economists out there, a lot of other financial people think that it won't work as well, but they're going to push it through at first, and it's going to be painful, and it's going to be expensive to be free. For you not to use a CBDC or not use it all the time or try to get around it, it's going to be more expensive. You're going to have to find other ways around it, use different forms of money. The freedom to not use that, it's going to be expensive. It might be something we have to put up with, though. In the comments below, write what you think is going to happen with this. Do you foresee the CBDC coming out? Will you use it? Will you try to get around it? I think a lot of people, in my opinion, will go back to bartering. Instead of going to the garage sale and you see something you want, the lawnmower, let's say, you're not going to pay something that's going to be tracked, and that person selling it probably doesn't want to be tracked. So maybe you still revert to an old type cash system. Use the old silver or gold system. You give them something else they want from your yard. Maybe you're a vegetable grower, fruit grower, and you can just trade. I think there's going to be a lot more of that in some areas, especially in some states other than others, because of the tracking and the taxing and all that. So we'll have to see. But I wanted to bring this out to everybody's attention again, that it is coming in the United States. Brazil's already doing it. I got a feeling it won't work out. So until next time, keep your ear to the ground and head on a swivel.